Hi everyone. So I have posted a few videos about the different health issues that I was facing in the past few years from various different reasons. And other than the recent few years of health issues that were related to cancer or organ damage or precancerous conditions, I have had health issues since a long time. So, usually, when we develop a certain comorbidity or a organ damage or a particular kind of illness in our body, it really actually doesn't develop the day someone gets diagnosed with the disease or when it gets detected via some lab tests or even the day someone dies. Most of the time, the causes of what actually caused them to die, caused them to have organ damage, caused them to have cancer, caused them to suddenly get diagnosed with a particular illness, many times most of these have a long term cause in their daily life that is leading towards something that is causing a health harm or a damage, which is eventually leading to a diagnosis or detection of a disease. That's why I didn't choose to wait until I find a doctor to tell me what is exactly going wrong, even though I did go and visit multiple doctors over a period of about 2 years in order to figure out what is going on. I also had some financial blockages which led me to not repeatedly go to a doctor but simply choose some wise doctors or wise decision making process to go to a doctor when I was at the peak stage of a illness. So for example, one time what had happened with me, which is unrelated to what was unfolding in the background, because you have to also understand many of us can have multiple illnesses unfolding in our body at the same time on the same day, but while they are unfolding in the body at the same time on the same day, if a doctor doesn't discern this, that maybe this patient has two different illnesses unfolding at the same time, they will not be able to treat you appropriately according to what is going on with you. You will eventually end up receiving only a partial treatment, which is why the universe and some of my guidances, because I was at that time also doing some meditation, all of this helped me in being picky and choosy about my treatment regimen. A pickiness and choosiness which I have followed even in US days when I was a pharmacist there, when I did have health insurance, when I also did have enough finances to go and actually see a doctor. But when you are young, when you are healthy, when a disease is not impacting your life in a way that you are debilitated, you will again be wise and picky about what treatment regimen to take and what treatment regimen to not take. For example, for these thyroid nodules, a doctor told me that once a year I should get it checked with a ultrasound. But if this nodule is not bothering me physically, not causing me any physical harm or symptoms that are distressing for me, it's a wasteful protocol for me to go. It's a health waste for me to go and use a resource when I don't need it. So this discernment not many people have. Many people just go to a doctor prescribes a standard normalized protocol for everyone to follow, and people just go and follow it. So for me, this was also a reason why in US, even though the doctor said go and get this tested every year to see whether this is developing into a cancer, I didn't do it because when I was in my early 30s, I didn't have any symptoms. I had very minor level thyroid symptoms, but the basic thyroid test didn't detect or diagnose anything wrong with my thyroid organ system functions, because of which, even though I had very minor like temperature sensitivity related symptoms happening in my body, I and also this nodule was not causing any pain, distress, nothing. It was just a physical checkup, and because the doctor was mindful doctor, it got detected as a nodule. And this nodule has a potential only when it was detected when I was in my 30s or late 20s is when I think it was initially detected, but the follow-ups were done in my 30s also. At that time, all these detection and follow-up and all this 15-year back history that I'm talking about all these history of this illness from 15 years back, it was just a nodule that was non-cancerous, benign. It was diagnosed as a benign nodule. But the same nodule has a potential to become cancerous. That's why the treatment regimen says follow up with a doctor regularly every year. But again, every year is too much of a follow up if you don't really have any symptoms related to this disease. That's why I only did, I think, 2 ultrasounds in my whole stay ever since this was detected, 2 or maximum 3. Right now, I'm a little bit blurry on the ultrasound processes because it's been an old memory. But and of that, I had only reports of, because I moved countries, many of the patient records also get destroyed when you're moving. So I didn't even have all my patient records from the past. I had only one record from the past related to this thyroid issue. But if I didn't have that even patient record, Indian systems are so bad about patient records. There is no communication to the patient itself about what is going on with their health, which is a major problem for women who have also abusive family and neglectful family and abuse oriented partners in their life. That's why it's very important. Indian patriarchy has to change regarding patient records, especially of women, and especially of women who are financially dependent on their spouses or someone else in their family. Because if women are financially dependent on someone, that already reduces access to healthcare for that woman at multiple levels, which is what Indian government, Indian system, people who don't even live in India don't understand about the level of horrifying trajectory that women face in India when accessing healthcare. And despite all that, despite knowing all that, because I know what happened with my mom as well. With my mom, it was an opposite case, because the person who was managing and controlling her life was a MBPS personality, Munchausen's by proxy syndrome personality. And because that person is the Munchausen's by proxy syndrome personality, what was actually her health problem never got, the root cause of her health problem was based on abuse happening to her at multiple levels. And not just abuse, it is a kind of mental illness pattern which I have discussed a lot in my Facebook and Instagram page. And if people want to learn about this disease, they can go there. I'm not openly talking even now about this because I need proof, a proof that I don't have, even though everything points out to Munchausen by proxy syndrome in this person who was controlling my mom's health narrative. The same person has been controlling my health narrative as well. When there were actually lab tests proving that I have allergies, this person is spinning the narrative to my family and anyone else who is contacting this person that I do not have allergies. I'm lying about it. When my actual medical reports are showing up cancer, again they are spinning. And the cancer that is detected in my reports, some of it is not easily understood because the doctors I went and pursued, and because of a medical mix-up also which happened, which led to this information being hidden in my reports. But whatever is it, I am able to detect my disease condition only because I have studied about this and I have more clinical knowledge than a standard pharmacist from India, than a standard pharmacy educated student in India, or even a master's level student educated in US. Because I was not a master's level student there, I was actually a doctoral level student in 2 different doctoral level pharmacy programs. That's why I have the doctoral level understanding of reading reports, even though I do not have doctoral degrees. One program I failed, one program I didn't fail, but I had to stop because of other circumstances. Now I could have made wiser decisions, but for me to make those wiser decisions also, I need a family life, I need a social life, I need right level of friendships, right level of people in my life who will also help me decide sometimes, which I didn't have. And that's why not doing these programs or failing some of these programs were the right path for me to take. Sometimes you have got to fail at something in order to succeed at it later. Sometimes you have to halt studying something in order to understand this later. Like the level of expertise I have developed now about certain illnesses, I would never have gathered if I myself didn't fall ill, if I myself didn't have this few years of gap from everything related to pharmacy that I was not even studying until I again fell sick. I had literally a gap of 4 to 6 years in my life where nothing related to medication I was pursuing or pharmacy was I pursuing in my professional life. Very briefly, for 1 year, I pursued a work in a nutraceutical company, but even there, it was more about natural medicine related work and research related work that I was pursuing than actual use of medication. And even there, that experience too was involved in shaping what eventually happened with me when I was slowly using some natural mechanisms to heal myself. Because sometimes you either will not have finances, sometimes you will not have the right doctor to tell you what is going on, sometimes you are women like me who have no one in their family who understands that they are actually in a health crisis. So if I have to survive, I have to go through all these steps of self care that no other woman who is supported will go through. And I have the education as well. So why do I have that education if I can't use that education properly? I am not having a education for time pass reason. This is not 100-year-old India or US where women used to educate themselves just for fun, just for a degree, and then they will go and get married to other persons. Not every woman in this generation of earth is being educated just for fun. They really do like what they study. They really have a knowledge base that can help them excel in whatever they do. And I have excelled in a while for 13 years in US life in my professional work because I am good at certain things that I do. It's just that because I was burnt out and other problems were happening in my life, for which again I didn't have the right social system or right social support or right legal system to help me fight through some of these challenges. For almost nearly 8 years, I have let go of getting justice for things that were unfair in my life. And not just 8 years, this is just one aspect where I let go of justice, but there are many places where I had to simply say no to getting justice first, because first I have to survive through what I am going through. And there are many women who have also done the same thing, especially those who are undergoing medical gaslighting related issues in their health. When someone knows, and this is the place where every healthcare practitioner has to change their mindset about certain women. You have to look at the patient history, but not simply the patient history of health, but patient history of their finances and their sociological conditions as well, because that impacts a woman's ability to go and actually access care. It impacts a woman's ability, because if they have an abusive husband, they will never be even taken to the right doctor. This literally happened in other members of my family too, where when two people, a daughter, sorry, not a daughter, and that is also a story I should tell, but I will not tell it right now. But in another, I am telling the easier to tell stories right now, because my story, if I start telling it, is such a difficult story, such a complex story. People will not believe it. I know people will not believe it. When I told even the minor level thing about my story, people didn't believe it, because they are living, everyone lives in their own narratives about themselves and their life. So I understand why people don't understand something when I'm talking about it, when even I am authentic about it. But even if they don't understand, that it doesn't mean that that story didn't happen or that it didn't unfold the way I'm saying it unfolded. It may have some biases involved related to my own personal problems, but even with the bias, there is again something like, truth is always the truth, and truth will again constantly keep showing up. If say you are saying XYZ person is mentally ill, their mental illness, if I am saying that about someone, their mental illness is not simply going to show up because I am saying it. If they really are mentally ill, there will be another 10 people who have also been impacted by their mental illness, right? which is what which is the problem with some women. If they have a mentally ill partner, mentally ill family, mentally ill children, and they are sick, and they are also financially dependent on these people for their sustenance, be it when they are 80 years old, 20 years old, 40 years old. If they have these mentally ill people in their life, or socially ill people who do not understand that if they have earned money, that money has to be shared with whoever is their family, whoever is their responsibility, and shared in the right way. It doesn't mean you give your partner 1,000 rupees a month for, or 2,000, 10,000, whatever rupees you give to your partner for them to spend wherever they like. That is not called sharing of money. Sharing of money is about responsibly sharing money, but both partners have to responsibly share it. These are the things the society has completely forgotten, or is so distorted in society, that sometimes if a partner is irresponsibly spending money, they are considered abusive when they are not. And sometimes when a partner is not at all sharing money, no one will see their abuse, because everyone else, they might be sharing their money with their friends. But when it comes to their spouse, when it comes to their children, when it comes to their family, they are not ready to share. So these are all the hidden kind of abuses that go on in life for many people. Or if, say, you have a generous parent, but after marriage, before marriage, they have spent a lot of money on you. But as soon as you got married, they have this belief system, the ladki is paraya dhan, or you are not part of their family anymore, so they stop sharing money with you. Which is all patriarchy related, false belief systems related things that happen to women, girl child, after marriage, before marriage, everywhere, constantly. This is happening to many women globally. It is not a issue just restricted to India, but in India there are many chronic hidden abuse related problems that are constantly happening to women. And after going through all this abuse, what is happening to most of the women? If we have a pain in our, first of all, period is one chronic problem. No woman goes and gets treatment for, very rarely, only when it has gone to the real health distress level of problems, that's when they go to a doctor. Otherwise, no woman gets treatment. No woman, actually, you don't need treatment, because it's true, it's a monthly thing, so you don't need treatment for it. But what do need actually is empathy. You need empathy, you need care. Like if your husband has flu, or your child has flu, your husband or child has stomach upset, you will go and prepare and give them some soups. You will help if they have a headache, you will put some bandages or balms on them. If they are having, you will help them do steam inhalation. All these supportive care that a wife or a mother is providing, or even a sister is providing to someone in their family, or that same thing. Ask how many men in the world globally do this to their own wives or mothers or sisters or children. Very few percentage of men actually exist who do this. Instead, what are these men chasing? They are chasing their work glory. They want someone in their workplace to praise them for all the beautiful things they are doing at work. They don't care about the little things that they can do in their own home life instead. And instead of doing that, they are sitting and chasing glory from women in their workplace, flirting with the women in their workplace, and they get all their compassionate energy. If the wife is sick and the husband is dangling around everywhere with everyone else in the workplace, instead of helping the sick wife, is the wife supposed to be pissed off, or is the wife supposed to be happy that, oh wow, I have such a great husband? Because everyone around him in his workplace loves him. Why will they not love him? He is kind and generous and sweet and empathetic and everything to everyone in the workplace. But where is that empathy for the wife? Where is the empathy for the child? Where is the empathy for the family members who also need it? Where are they getting their empathy? They are cooking for him. They are keeping his home clean for him. They are making sure everything in the home life is safe and secure and love filled, positive energy filled. Many things women do. But even though they do all these many things, some women, maybe they are not able to do many things when they are also working at the same time. But the women who are housewives, they do many little things for their spouses all the time. But how many spouses actually really put the same level of effort for anything related to the women? I have met men when I was dating or even when I was married. If I talk about my work problems, or if I show that a solution that they are not seeing exists for a problem that is related to my work, because my work was healthcare work. So if I have shown someone a problem solution, that if they had a health crisis in their family, and I'm saying this is the different way you have to approach it, not ready to listen. Now, can I be with that family then if they are not ready to listen to what I have done for 15-20 years of my life, and I know the best path already about what needs to be traversed? I will get energetically drained. It is like if you have found a secret map to going and getting a pot of gold. Everyone is chasing a pot of gold in this life, right? Everyone wants money. You already know how to get that pot of gold, and you also know the most efficient way and the best way to get there, but no one believes that you know how to go there. Even if for before getting that pot of gold for 15 years you have worked hard enough to actually even get one small pieces of gold coins from universe, but because no one has seen that you have also gathered pieces of gold coins, they will not believe you. Even if you show them the gold coins, there are some stupid self-sabotaging people who think that whichever person is dangling a pot of gold in front of them actually has the pot of gold, which is what is happening in India with many things related to abuse, many things related to healthcare, many things related to legal justice, not just India, globally. And these three things are the elements which are impacting my life, which have been impacting my health for a long time. Not simply the last 5-10 years, but in the last 5-10 years, I simply had to let go what I cannot fight. Because how many things should I be able to fight when I have done everything in my power to be self-sufficient, self-caring, ensure that I use my money wisely so that I don't fall into the traps of uselessly spending money on healthcare to anything else. And I had to be that careful. I can't afford to be a spoiled brat. I just can't, because there is nothing, no one to spoil me, and neither is it about getting spoiled like a brat. It is just simply about I cannot survive, or I won't be able to survive anything that is happening in my life if I start behaving like a rich spoiled brat, going and doing bungee jumping and all kinds of nonsense. Because this is the level of men I have also dated, who do not understand the grievousness of problem. And this is the problem also on the earth, because if you are rich, you are meant to do something with your money, and you are not doing it. Instead, you are just using it for self gain, self pleasure, and that's it. But that's not why you are meant to get some money from someone or the universe. Those who do manifestation journal, manifestation prayers, be it about love, be it about money, because these are the two things driving most men and women on earth. But even in this basic thing, when they are trying to manifest money or love or both, they don't understand that when they are trying to pursue money or love or both, every time you make the choice which is aligned with the devil, you and misaligned with God's purpose for money or love, you will end up in your own steps to ruin. Like how failures are considered the stepping stones of success, there is a reverse truth to it also, that the minor successes or wrongful successes that you think are taking you towards success are actually the stepping stones to your own something called fall from grace in Christianity. And I talk about different religions because it is about learning the lesson about life and God aligned paths. It doesn't matter which religion you follow, because the same fall from grace might be described in Hinduism in a different way, might be described in Islam in a different way. It is described in different religions in different ways. But the essential spirit of it is, if you are continuously making choices which seem to be all success oriented choices, but if they are all devil oriented successes, you will not succeed at all in your life, or eventually the kind of failure you will face, you will not be able to handle it in life. So when people are facing failures. This is another thing. I had posted the video on failures also. Sometimes when you're facing failures, each failure shows you what are your barriers to success, where you can succeed and where you can't succeed if you are a wise person. So where I can't succeed, when the social system, legal system, everything is in a gray area, I can't succeed there. So I won't fight a battle where, or enter a battle where I can't succeed. That's why I left some of the justice related questions in the back burner, because how do I fight about a family where they are constantly being patriarchally oriented, despite Indian laws saying that you should have a percentage of share from your parents or your grandparents or anyone in your family whose after death you may have a legal right to have a percentage of the property share or money share or something. How many people are you going to fight in your family if none of them see or need that you need that property? How many women can fight it? Despite the law supporting women to get that justice, a woman will not get justice if in their family no one is aligned with giving them that justice. Same way, if in US the law says abuse is this, and I am facing abuse of every level, am I supposed to sit and be abused for 10 years before I get justice, or should I leave if I can see that abuse is happening and I don't want to take this abuse? I will leave. I don't care about the legal systems giving me justice when all the abuse things, for me to actually sit and record, and the energy that will be needed to actually get some evidence for my abuse that was happening, is the painful process that I can't take, because by that I do not have a good supportive family. If my own family is not being financially fair to me, how do I expect, or how will I get that justice from other people also? So I left both these places, in India and in US. I have left property law related problems, family law related problems, legal justice related problems. Everything I had to simply let go, because there's also constantly behind my back people making these narratives which are all false narratives based on their problems. And I can't sit and fight a losing battle. This is not why I was born. So the battle that I can fight is what? I can educate people about this, so that any woman who is facing the same circumstance that I am facing, be it in healthcare, be it in legal system, be it in social system, be it in financial system, be it in anything related to a problem that I have gone through, where for me it is a 5 level, 10 level problem. If their 1 level problem can be solved with a video that I can make, be it a woman, be it a man, it doesn't matter, it's not gender specific. But if their 1 level problem can be solved because they don't have those 9 other problems that are tying my hands to solve my problems, should they be able to fight that one problem, or take the right steps to go and get the justice for that one problem? Or should they sit and wait and twiddle their thumb and not get justice because I didn't get my justice and I said somewhere in my post that I let it go? I had to let it go for many reasons, and I also post in those videos why I let it go. I wouldn't have let it go on if everything was balanced in, or at least some evidence was balanced in my favor, in a way for me to, I had to also have the energy, I had to also have the finances, I had to also have the social support system, I had to also have some emotional support, because every battle needs all these before you can fight a battle. You can't just fight a self battle, one person directed battle, when the problem is a multi-level challenge. You just can't. You need the right team. So that's why, and these people are getting away with the things they have done, but there are at least 10, 20, 50 people who have been impacted by these same people in the same way. Because serial abusers don't stop abusing, they actually get bolder. If it is a serial abuser, if it is a serial criminal, if it is a serial financial abuser, they just get bolder and bolder with time. They don't change. So that's why multiple victims sometimes also are needed for them to gather together to fight the battle. So with medical gaslighting, the problem right now in India and globally is this, that medical gaslighting is happening because, especially which happens to women, is because, or even sensitive men can also face this, because if you are sensitive and intuitive and do many practices to manage your health via exercise, meditation, energy healing, eating right, nutritious and balanced food. You're already following the standard protocol that everyone follows to maintain their health. If not all protocols, say you're following majority of the protocols necessary to have a balanced health, balanced mind, everything, and then also you are falling sick, and after that you have gone to the doctor. You have also tried to manage some of your symptoms by yourself, because you know if you fall sick completely, you do not have a support system to take care of you. So there are many women and men like this who live loner lives, who live lives where they do not have a supportive family or social system or legal system or financial system, or multiple of these factors, which means they are only taking care of their health on their own. Now that person, when they go and seek a social system, or when they go and seek a medical system, when they go and seek banking for some banking purposes, everything is a challenge in globally for these people who are multi-level complex abuse, complex trauma survivors. Everything is a challenge for them, because if you are, say, having complex trauma and complex abuse going on in your daily life, for me, when I had complex trauma, complex abuse, and also cancer showing up, I couldn't go and stand in the bank for even 15 minutes. And every process in Indian banking needs more than 15 minutes to do it. And if I do not have the 15 minutes energy to do it, I do not have money with me. Even though I may have money in the bank, I do not have access to the money. Even though for a while I managed to put some money in my Paytm account or online accounts, again the time until which I have the access to the money in my online account, that is the only time I have the money. After that, again I don't have the money. These are all elements of financial abuse. You can live with a family, but if they don't understand your needs, if they don't meet your needs, if you ask them also to meet your needs, they are such kind of mentally ill people. They will not meet your needs deliberately as well. There are these kind of men also who exist on earth. Men and women, you ask them for help, they will give you barest minimum of what you are asking, or they will deliberately go and start sabotaging your health because they have a narrative that is going on with them, and they are not ready to shift their narratives. So I went through this for 2 years, and that's why I didn't go to a doctor. When I finally had the health, so for 2 years or 1.5 years, I didn't have the health to even get up from the bed. Only thing I was doing while getting up from the bed was going and taking a shower, where I was getting sick, because in the summer time when earth pollution is high, the water levels were polluted. When the water levels are polluted, it was adding to my disease. When it was adding to my disease, it was causing my head to spin. When it was causing my head to spin, I would have just fallen on in the bathroom or in my own room, and I just came to my own room, and I was taking, and because no one in my family is believing that I'm having all these health issues, I had to take showers in the night time instead of daytime. All this rubbish was going on. And if I don't live with anyone at all, then the risk is I can fall dead and no one will even know that I am dead. If I live by myself, then also I lived by myself for 1 year, even with cancer, even with pre-cancer, because it depends on what you interpret from my story. I know I have cancer. So even though all these things were going on, at that time I didn't know I had cancer. At that time I thought I had inflammation and allergies, heightened allergies going on, because multiple factors related to inflammation and allergies showed up in my life. I also had heightened stress because other factors outside of my own family and living condition related circumstances also added to my health distress. And again, that is another thing I can't sit and explore when I have 3 health challenges already showing up on my health, and then an additional outside challenge was sent my way. That outside challenge, for which also again the same problem. If I have to go and get evidence for proving that what is happening to me is the truth, To gather that evidence also, I need contacts, I need people to work with, I need the right people to understand the right set of problems impacting my life. And if it is again a complex level problem, which it was a complex level problem, again that thing had to be just stopped and halted. I couldn't do something about it, where I don't have the power to do the right things or the right steps when your health is failing. Where what is the sanity? You have to first either survive through this or you have to die. These are the only two choices left when you are in severe health distress. You survive or you die. So any of the women who face medical gaslighting, they went to the doctor. They didn't have these 10 problems also. But even despite not having these 10 problems, they had health harm related problems happening in their life, where they were self-sufficient and self-care taking women. That's why they knew that their health is in real distress. But even if the doctor doesn't detect that what distress is happening to these women, the women know they are in distress. And they are not mad, they are not crazy, they are not they are traumatized from the fact that if they go and see 3 or 4 doctors and none of them have detected what is wrong with them, but every day their symptoms are showing up in their health, which shows that something is severely wrong or moderately wrong. They are not able to do the same functions that they used to do 5 years back, 4 years back, 2 years back, 6 months back. All of these are indicators that your health is completely deteriorated and short. So even if the doctor doesn't detect what is wrong with you, doesn't mean that the patient is wrong. Or if the doctor detects that, oh, you have just this minor thing going on, when the patient knows that it is not this minor thing, why will that patient see that doctor again? And this is what many women did. Some women did continue to follow the medical processes and steps that were guided to them, and they eventually got detected with cancer, because this is another problem with cancer. Cancer keeps slowly developing in the body. It doesn't, when say, if you are if you have some cancer, like say you have breast cancer, and say the breast cancer is present only in one breast, your symptoms are present all through the body. The lump is also maybe showing up in the mammogram, but even in that mammogram, in the lump that is showing up, and then after that when you take a extract of the sample from that lump, if by any chance, even though you have cancer, the lump extract that was taken out by a doctor didn't have cancerous cells, you will not show cancer in the reports. A woman might live with that same cancer, and because it just happened, and of course many of these samples, when they take out the extract, the samplants, they take it from 2-3 different points. But what if by happenstance that day the 3 different points at which you took the samples were the samples where the cancer cells were not there? You will not detect the cancer. Same way, if a woman or a man has some other kind of cancer, and only say this part of their body has that cancer developing right now, but that sample was taken from this part of the body for say a blood cancer, say the blood cancer has developed here, which is impacting, and all the symptoms of cancer are showing up in their body, but this is the part that they decided to take the sampling from. Maybe because of dyslexia, or maybe because they didn't know where to take the sample from. They just decided this is the area where this is the standard protocol, that's why they took sample from here. Then also, is the cancer going to be detected if they have only cancer in this area of the body and this side of the body is being tested for cancer? No. So diagnostic tests are not always the right measure to detect whether the patient is actually ill. Other than diagnostic tests, that's why in PharmD program that I did, they are teaching us to understand about patient history. But the next level also has to come up, and this PharmD program I was doing almost over 10 years back. And in this over 10 years, I don't know what updates have happened in US healthcare, because I didn't keep in touch with US healthcare's updates. But in the meanwhile, what I did learn from my own health and disease is that every time you are sick, it is not necessary that all the information will be given like crystal clear test paper like information to someone. A person who is developing a particular disease which has not probably yet reached that diagnostic disease state level doesn't mean that they are not developing cancer in their body, doesn't mean they are not developing organ damage and all the other ancillary symptoms which can be detected from the patient's skin color to pain where they are having the pain to what else was happening with the patient's health history for 1-2 years. All of this determines if a patient has organ damage or cancer developing in their body. And which are the two main diseases I feel that are most undetected or detected late because doctors don't know how to read medical reports in India. The doctors only know how to read the medical reports which give them a definite diagnosis, and then only based on that definite diagnosis they are saying that you have cancer or you have this, you have that. But the gray areas of hidden information that can be also present in a patient's medical report, as well as their health history, that gray area of health history, doctors are not connecting the dots. And it is necessary doctors connect the dots. This is the same problem that has happened with COVID as well, which is why vaccines are failing and will continue to fail, because vaccine is not the right solution for a disease where immune systems and health of a whole patient is failing because of all these challenges the patients face in their life. I'll make a COVID video in the next post possibly, because COVID is also a big mess up where everyone has fucked up in a way. Very few people actually understand COVID, and those few people are too less number of people who have actually starting to understand what is going on with COVID. But rest of the world, 99.99% of doctors and healthcare practitioners do not understand what is actually going on. The only people who understood really what was going on are the people who refused the vaccines during COVID. Those doctors and healthcare practitioners who refused the vaccines actually even understood 100% what was going on with COVID, or have the capacity to understand 100% the top level stuff that's going on with COVID. So when someone has illnesses developing in the body, people need this education. First of all, women patients don't go to the doctors unless they are really in distress. Very few women patients will go even to the doctor. They are the caretakers, primary caretakers in most families, either as a single mom, as a single woman, as a woman who is married, as a woman who is a mother, as a woman who is a sister. They are the ones usually caretaking everyone, so they just try to manage things on their own. Majority of women do that. Very few selfish or hypochondriac women are the ones who will actually go to the doctor again and again for their selfish hypochondriac needs. Otherwise, most women won't go to doctors unless they are really in distress, and when they are really in distress, most of those women actually are in a health crisis stage, moderate to major level health crisis stage. Because for a woman who has got a financially abusive husband, he will not take her only to the doctor. So how will that housewife who is a financially abused housewife go to the right doctor if none of them in her social circle understands that she has an illness going on? Women also have this criteria that you have to be cheerful, you have to be kind, you have to be soft, you have to be gentle. So most of the time when they are speaking with friends also over the phone or any other social communication time, if 99% of the time they are miserable in their homes, that 1% they will be cheerful outside, because they do not have any other source of joy in their life. So what will they do? Very few women will continuously be joyless throughout their life, otherwise they can't survive. You can't survive if you are getting abused for 90% of your life, and when you are outside and meeting friends or socializing, if you don't smile there also, that small 10% joy you're receiving from your friends or some social circumstance, then you are going to die only. You are anyways on a death trajectory. If every time you're falling sick, a false narrative is spun around you. Every time you are sick, 1 or 10 people are saying false things about your sickness. Like you are physically sick, but they are saying you're mentally sick, even though physical reports are showing up that you're physically sick. Or in my mother's case, the other thing that was spinning was some of her physical illnesses were deliberately being done to her. She was deliberately sabotaged by giving her some other people's used medications or remaining medications of people who had already died. She was being poisoned by those things, and then she was lethargic, then she was sleepy, then she was not able to function at the same level. For despite this kind of abuse, she had functioned for 10-15 years of her life. Despite taking 15 years of her life, being a good wife, kind wife, taking care of her kids and every need that a mother can take care of, only thing she didn't do was she was not as communicative verbally, but which is also a natural consequence of continuous abuse. If you live with an abuser who twists every word you say to them, and you are also a quiet personality, you naturally also shut down, which is why she didn't have any place to communicate. She had also some problems. I'm not saying that she was a perfect woman, but even if she wasn't a perfect woman, the problem is whatever was her flaws, some abusers do that also. They use someone's inherent natural flaw and spin the tale against their natural flaw itself to show something that is not true about them. Or a real sociopathic person will also, along with the uh, spinning of a tale about someone, they will also add more abuse to a person in order to make that person look like something they are not, seem like something they are not. So this is the other part of the health history which I didn't realize when I was growing up, because when you're a child you don't realize these things, but it hits you when the same thing is repeating with you. If the same thing repeats with you, or you saw some of it also repeat with other people in the family, you understand you piece together how this happened. At least I piece together, because I am that kind of a person. That's why I am also a good clinician, and I was able to diagnose my own cancer, which the doctor didn't diagnose it, right? But if doctor diagnoses or I diagnose, if I have to go today and get a cancer treatment, I need the right finances with me. If I go even to a doctor who doesn't understand that why I will refuse certain treatments if it is counterintuitive for other organ damages and other problems in my life, if I don't get that doctor, is there any point for me to go and see a doctor? No. Because, and that is the challenge in India, you do not have right doctors. They first of all don't know how to diagnose a patient. There are some doctors who are like that. There are some doctors who will only diagnose that patient who is at the major health level crisis, detectable by their reports. And if minor crisis or moderate level crisis are showing up, they are not detecting it. And while I may have had a moderate level crisis of a particular disease developing in my body, I also had 2-3 diseases developing in my body at the same time. And when 2-3 diseases are developing in the same person's body, it is equivalent or more challenging than only one disease at a moderate level, right? One disease at a moderate level, if it doesn't get detected, you can still survive it for a little bit longer. But if it is a disease which is not just one disease, 3 diseases already simultaneously going wrong in your body, you can't, or 3 organ system damages plus a disease or whatever was happening, many things were happening with my health, which is a different tale. And because I was also doing energy healing, the way I was able to survive through some of these diseases were the energy healing mechanisms. And also because I am a preventative care person, because the first line of therapy I was taught as a pharmacist in US is preventative health care. So before taking medicine, in the pharmacy books we are taught you have to do preventative health care as the first step to, if you are in a anything condition, say you are pre-diabetic, pre-hypertensive, the first level is you do preventative care. So if I am pre-cancerous, what is the preventative care I did with the radiation related issues? I stopped being exposed to high amounts of solar radiation, indoor radiation, phone radiation, any kind of radiation that will escalate my nodules into becoming into a cancerous one. So that helped me manage the thyroid related problem. But the other cancer needs prevention of scale that is not just dependent on me. For me to even have supportive healthcare, my family has to understand that I'm going through a cancerous condition and what prevention I need, which none of my family understands. Then if even if I don't have a family, if I go to a hospital also to get treatment for it, again the level and depth of education a hospital needs, that level and depth of education in India I haven't seen yet. They don't even understand how outside circumstances and challenging, the thinking outside the box paradigm is missing in India. So that's why if you have read in the book that XYZ medicine should be given for ABC cancer, that's all they know. They don't understand that even the outside box related thinking that I have to do, because I face these challenges, that if say XYZ medicine has to be given for ABC medicine, X is one medicine, Y is one medicine, Z is one medicine, say these three medicines have to be given for treating ABC cancer. But if ABC cancer needs X, Y and Z, if the Z is not manufactured rightly, I can get into health distress. If the Y is having a drug interaction with something, or drug chemical interaction in my body, that where some other organ damage is also going on, that will again deteriorate my health. If a medicine, even though it is recommended standardly for this cancer, but in my body I have some other underlying undetected or detected health conditions, but the doctor is not able to see through that this drug and that medical condition are contraindications, again I will be in trouble. So these are the reasons why I'm not going to get the treatment for the cancer, because if I go, I have literal organ damage, I have literal malfunction of a particular organ, I have medicines which will counteract or be counterproductive if I take that medicine in a body which is heightened inflammation state body, which is heightened allergies body, and which is all happening because of chemical pollution related factors. So the first factor, that's why I'm talking about, is about chemical pollution on earth. Because if chemical pollution is prevalent everywhere on earth, on multiple places of earth, and people are not going to stop the chemical pollution, most patients like me are going to die. The only reason I have not died is because this information first needs to come out before I die, even if I am supposed to die say in a few years, because I have no guarantee whether I'll survive through this or not survive through this. But what is guaranteed is the trajectory of death is more likely right now if people don't stop earth pollution, if people in my life don't stop the self-sabotaging, mentally ill and socially ill paradigms that they follow regularly. I can't survive with those people. And without those people I have had much better healthy life. When I was guided also to go and travel for a while, for a few months I went and traveled all over India in different places to see, I was actually trying to check out where can my health be fitter than it is when I'm in Mumbai. And it turned out that while there are some places where it can be fitter, but even then again, if those places governments, those places local people, those places don't follow again the right protocols to help someone survive through a cancer, or when their daily life practices in homes, in hotels, in everything related to our normalized practices on earth cause organ damages in most people. It's just that people are unaware. Everything we do in our daily life has a lot of chemical usages, from food to water to clothes to air and to soil. Everywhere chemical pollution is prevalent currently. And that same chemical pollution, I could live in a particular home where for 2-3 weeks they had less chemical pollution and I'm fine. But as soon as they add another chemical pollution related criteria on their because of local policies or because of that same housing policies, again I fall sick. And this is a global thing people have to change. If globally people don't change, globally many people will die. There's no way out of the death paradigm for anyone whose health is already in multiple organ failure or deep level cancer, which even after going to 2-3 doctors, if it doesn't get detected, and if they are a poor person, they can't keep going to the doctor, so eventually they will die. Even if you go to 10 doctors and spend lakhs of money and crores of money, they detected only cancer in your body and forgot about the other things like organ system failure or organ damage or allergies or drug interaction, drug chemical interaction that could impact your health. Again, you will die if they gave you one single medicine that will cause any of these problems in your health. And this is the level of health risk I have been living with, and this is only related to simple medication and chemical usages done by people, normal people in normal lives. But I don't even have normal people living a normal life with me. I have abnormal people living with me everywhere in my family. Everyone has a particular kind of abnormality, which if they don't wake up, if they don't change, their own health is failing. One family, where the family story that I was going to say was simple story where the son was also had an accident and had a foot injury where some car went through his foot, but because he was working for a company, because he has friends, all of them helped him. His dad even went and picked him up from the other state in which he was living to help him recover at home. At home, his mom and dad both are serving him by taking him to the bathroom every time he needs to go to the bathroom, giving him medicine, giving him nutritious food. Every kind of care was given to him. When his own mother, at the same time he was recovering at home, also fell, got an injury, what level of care she got? Nothing except a balm or some tablet. That is all the level of care she has got. She is also suffering from other health conditions which also need right therapy, correct therapy, accurate therapy, but because she is a financially dependent housewife, she doesn't get it. And even though her son earns lakhs and crores of money, he also doesn't get it that his mom can be sick and one day she will die. Another family, same thing happened where both son and daughter work. Son and daughter were staying with the mom. No, zero clue about what circumstance needs to happen in their own family's life in that particular home, which should support her health or detract from her health. Even if a health educated, health informed person tells it to them, because a doctor hasn't told them these protocols, this is the blinder of Indians. They think other than doctor, no one else knows what is healthcare, what is caretaking, what is supportive healthcare. It is also a blinder outside India, but the blinder outside India is a little less, because if doctors have worked with pharmacists, some of those doctors do respect in US the pharmacist's knowledge, but in India that respect is completely not there, because they don't even know what happens in a different country. Indians keep making fun of Americans, that Americans don't know geography, Americans don't know this, that, but Americans do know healthcare. And Americans, also having made mistakes in healthcare, know where the mistakes have happened and they are teaching it to the others. And Indians, in the meanwhile, don't even know where mistakes in healthcare happen, because Indians are incapable of admitting mistakes. I have not met a single Indian right now in India with whom I have existed who has apologized for a single factor related to their mistake, neither to themselves nor to another. This is the level of stubbornness and idiocy present in India. And I can't do anything about it. Because what will I do fighting hundreds of Indians or millions of Indians or billions of Indians who are stupid enough to kill themselves or their own family? Can I do anything about it? I can make a video about it. That's what I'm doing. It's up to you whether as an Indian you are sitting, an Indian sit and crib that for brain drain is happening in India. Why will not brain drain happen in India when an educated person from a foreign country and an educated person who has lived in India knows the problem zones both of foreign healthcare and Indian healthcare, and then they are giving you the wisest possible option, you ignore that person? Why will that person stay in your country? What gain do they have? They have zero gain living here. I will die only if I continue living here. I know 99% of chances of my death are more probable than anything else for me. The only reason I have not died is because of God, and because someone has to wake up Indians that if you continue doing this, majority of Indians are dying. I can see so many Indians every day. I meet one Indian or the other somewhere who is dying and having a death trajectory present, where within 1 year, 2 year, 10 years they are going to die because they don't have the right food. If you don't have the right food, if you don't have the right water, if you don't have the right air, if you don't have the right medicine, if you don't have the right doctor, if you have a doctor who doesn't understand that medicines can cause harm, if you have a doctor who doesn't understand that even if the medicine you were giving to a patient initially was never causing harm for 10 years of your life, but now it is causing harm because of earth pollution. These are all the blinders Indians have, not just Indians, globally also. There are so many media reports showing up where food supplements have poison, water has poison, earth has poison, trees have poison, people in their lives are poisonous, who are the sociopathic kind of people living in their life, who are literally murdering them daily for via some abuse or the other. Despite all this information, can you save yourself from any of this if you don't take affirmative positive action to save yourself? I have taken the action to save myself. That's why God is sending me healing. God is not sending me healing as a joke, right? There is a purpose behind it. That's why I'm getting the healing that I'm getting when I'm not even asking for the healing, because me asking for the healing is also currently pointless. What will I do with temporary healing of 5 minutes or 1 day or 2 days or 10 days when for the rest of my life the people I'm stuck with are stupid, foolish, immature, uneducated, unaware, unconscious, deliberately sabotaging, deliberately murderous personalities. These are the 10 different kinds of Indians I coexisted, and some of them I have coexisted with 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And of this, the deliberately murdering kinds murder, I didn't realize until recently when it is happening to me. The same thing that happened to my mother 20-25 years back or even 30 years back, it was happening. The same thing not just with her, it also happened with some other families, but their proof I have even less because I was not an eyewitness to many of the things related to their murders. And this is the level of foolishness, because if I give this information also, these sociopathic people are the first ones who will come and watch this and use these tactics now to actually murder someone. This is the level of stupidity existing in India right now. Give all the murderers the right information, and the one who is in trouble, she is just a crazy woman. Because that is the narrative. A woman who shouts is a crazy woman. A woman can't shout when they are literally being strangled by someone. A woman has to keep quiet. A woman, when literally every day someone is doing some nasty thing in the house, it doesn't matter what relative they are. A nasty person is a nasty person irrespective, and a person who's evil is evil irrespective of what family tag they have attached to themselves with you, right? So, but just because they have a family tag to me doesn't mean they are my benefactor in any way, or just because out to the outside world it seems like they are my benefactor or they do the barest minimum as a benefactor doesn't again mean that after doing the barest minimum 90% of the time they do health harm continuously in some way, psychological way to emotional way to financial way, or a multiple set of ways to abuse someone. So this level of problems I have been existing with, and this is the way I speak. That's why, because I am desensitized also to some of my pain. It's only once in a while, the degree of pain that I have, I can't cry every day, because if I sit and cry every day, there is no one to come and solve my problems. Because the people who can solve these problems are busy solving problems of sociopaths. They are busy solving problems of manipulators. That is the level of problems women face also in their life, daily life, where their health is in crisis and their husband is busy solving or boyfriend is busy solving problems of someone who has actually literally zero problems or manufactures a problem to get a man's attention. But the real women who really face problems, real women or men who are really stuck in trouble zones, they don't manipulate a system to get a help. They get help where directly help is accessible, because if you have 10 problems you can't even sit and manipulate. That is also the biggest joke of my life. I can't sit and manipulate when I have 10 things going wrong in my body. If I manipulate any of it, I am anyways going to die. If I don't even manipulate, I am anyways going to die, because I have 10 problems happening at the same time. So, but those who don't have 10 problems, those who aren't manipulative, those who are sane, those who have only one problem going on. You can save yourself by reading up on these women of patient story, using help from outside resources of India to help yourself, or go and get the right treatment. Because what is more important currently in a earth pollution ridden earth is, if you do not have the right solution, you are more likely in the wrong solution path. And if you are in the wrong solution, health solution path, you're, despite the currently approved practices by a doctor in India or anywhere else in the world, you will still die. Because the currently approved practices is not simply what is needed when someone has a complex health problem developing in their life. Even if you have one disease, only one disease, you have cancer that was detected, and that is all you have. But with cancer, there are 10 things that need to be done right in order for you to survive currently. And if this is where doctors haven't woken up in India or globally, that if whatever was the standard protocol given for cancer was based on studies done 10-20 years back, or even if it is a study that has been done recently and that is the most current updated healthcare treatment, the person who is giving the treatment, if their knowledge base is bad, they can mess up. The person who's giving the treatment, even when they have the best quality practice of care prevalent in their whole life, one day can still mess up. If you are also the richest and most luxurious person in the world, but in your country and in your society and in the place where you live, in the home where you live, nothing that should support a cancer patient's health is prevalent there, again you will die. If not die, you will have a long painful death. Because cancer means long painful death. Now cancer treatment means you may survive it well, but you have to have the right conditions for you to survive it well. And if the right conditions are not prevalent, it means you will again have a painful slow death. This is the trajectory of anyone who has come up with cancer as part of their life history on earth. Every cancer patient's life history is meant to be like that. And because cancer is one of those diseases which is prevalent on earth, simply because humans haven't woken up to what they do in their daily lives, that adds to cancer in anyone's body. Data is present everywhere. Data about makeup causing cancer is there. Data about food, clothing having cancerous chemicals are also there. Data about water pollution is there. Data about earth pollution is there. Data about chemicals we use for cleaning our homes are there, causing cancer. Data about plastics causing cancer are there. Data about perfumes and other women's toiletries causing cancer are there. So if you are having all these 7 groups of items that lead to cancer prevalent in your health, data about radiation causing cancer is also there. Data about nuclear power reactor related cancer is also there. Now if you have 9 conditions related to cancer prevalent in your life and none of them have been stopped, what will your treatment do to you? It will only say you have cancer in breast, it will take out the cancerous thing from your breast, but in your recovery phase you will again get back the cancer, because all the conditions necessary for the cancer to disappear is not gone. Earlier, what was it possible that someone after having a breast cancer removal was surviving for many years? Is because at that time earth pollution was at least 10 to 100 times less than what it is right now. So they could still recover and live a life for 10 years. Or after having cancer, if someone woke up suddenly like, I had cancer, I got surgery, now I am okay, let me go and enjoy my life. So they went and enjoyed their life and they were moving around to a different place. So all the conditions related to their cancer that was present where they were living, now some of those conditions are gone. So when those conditions are gone, they are partially recovered, which is what happened to me as well. I had pre-cancer or cancer, depending on how you look at my data. I went outside to other states of India where air pollution, earth pollution, water pollution, some kind of pollution was lesser than the pollution in my home, and partly less. But I have a financial restriction. So because I have a financial restriction, I could only travel for 5-6 months. When I traveled for those 5-6 months, also every place I went to travel to figure out whether I can live in that place, again based on the people in there. I can't change a stranger to I have educated the strangers. It's not that what education I'm putting on these videos, I haven't given the same information to those people, because I know what is causing or adding to health harm in the practices they do daily in their life. So I've educated them, but whether they will stop doing using those chemicals that are harming their own health or not is dependent on them. I can't stop a human being from being foolish, being stupid, being unwise, being uneducated, being unaware. I can't stop any of this. I can give them the awareness, but for that awareness to develop into a practice takes a lot of time, because after awareness, understanding has to happen. After understanding, realization has to hit that yes, there is a direct correlation of my practice to my health harm. And after realizing it also, many people fail to still do the right things, because if they are mentally ill or if their family is mentally ill, sometimes they will deliberately sabotage someone to make them sicker also. These are all the steps people are fighting when a simplest case of health harm has to be solved on earth. And this is not just a micro scale problem, this is also a social level problem. First, denial is there. If awareness is given, the denial might be present. If denial has been removed, understanding is there, again the challenge of ego of someone else's information might be there. Even if you let go of that belief that no, this person is really telling the truth, then when practicing it, people will fail because they're so habituated to doing something wrong. Then after getting habituated into doing something wrong, if 3 people of the family have to stop using that cancerous chemical in their life, or 3 people in the municipal system has to stop the functioning that is municipality is causing, that is leading to cancer causing chemicals being spread everywhere, even just one out of those 3 people, if one is sociopathic, they will continue doing the health harm, because they enjoy seeing people suffer. Those kind of mentally ill people are also functioning in different levels and different aspects of our life, from individual home level to outside social service related, social work related, community work related, government work related levels. And then there are also another kind who are sociopathic as well as greedy. They will also take money after knowing that these things cause health harm. I will distribute these health harm causing things in a particular population so that I can profit from this population. That is also another kind of problem prevalent in society right now globally. So where do you want to solve and join in is up to you. But if you don't join in, we are all in the same track of death only, painful death, harmful death, which cannot be solved by money or medicine anymore. Because what even medicine could solve or surgery can solve can only be solved when there is a clean water, clean earth, clean bed, clean hospital, chemical free, cleanest possible health of a patient via the right food they eat, right water they consume, right air they breathe. And if none of that is prevalent outside of the hospital, that patient cannot survive even if they got the best treatment in a hospital. If none are there, they will immediately die. If some factors that can support their health are still prevalent in their life, it may take 1-2 years for them to die, but they will still die. And if there is some murderous person in their family who is just waiting, if you are rich, there is someone ready for you to die, so they will add to your troubles after seeing a video like this. So that's why I don't want to talk about some of these things, but it's like risk versus benefit. If I don't give this education, there are actually people who are actually murdering people deliberately based on such kind of information. And because this information is less prevalent on earth, but that doesn't mean because what information I'm giving you is actually information from 30-40 years back, and a wise person who never dispensed this information from 30-40 years back but knows about this information could have in these 30-40 years murdered many people using this information. If they are wise sociopathic psychopathic killers, they can coldly calculatingly murder, while all the justice system, legal system, family system, healthcare system, therapists, everyone is sitting and simply being unaware about a person's sociopathic tendencies, murderous tendencies, and other kind of mental illnesses that they suffer from. Because everything I'm talking about is not new information, they are all old information, but what's new is the new levels of people who are involved in causing earth harm, health harm, life risk, everything. And this is how evolution works. If you want to do the right thing, some very wrong things have to be corrected first. People want to ascend, and this is another part of thing going on earth. If you want a clean earth, clean health, clean life, new earth, new health, better way of living, you have to first correct everywhere where the worst ways of living are present. If you don't correct it, if you don't check it, if you allow it, if you think the sociopath is the one to be pitied, you are gone already. If you pity a sociopath, the sociopath will come and kill you only first. This is where the sociopathy is. Antisocial personality disorder is the one who knows them the most, or the one who is the most willing victim. These are the two people they kill first. Anyways, and because my life has been in danger for a while for multiple reasons, I had to write first about the first easily rectifiable reasons that people can work on in order to stay healthy. But I have to also talk about the very difficult to rectify things unless multiple systems of healthcare and social safety come into play to cause such things also from not developing and escalating into a large scale problem. But if those multiple systems of healthcare to social system to legal system to financial system to justice systems do not align, there are many people who will die because they have no other choice but to die. For them, it's the mercy of death that is the only thing that will take them away from their problems. So I hope this was educational. If you have any questions, please post a comment and I would be happy to answer your questions until I cannot. Thank you. Have a good day.